If the podcast wasn't done professionally, I wouldn't expect you to come on it. Do you think if you had the name Bumpy Longbottom or Jake Longbottom or whatever, do you think that would have affected collab chances? Like, do you know you've worked on all these big events and stuff? Do you think people with that name, do you think it would have affected collab chances?
I think it definitely would have, yeah. I don't feel like... Like, for one, like, it's not even a good name, like, in general. I feel like, you know, how, like, your appearances, like, just on social media is a very, like, big factor 100%. As to whether people will want to work with you or hire you. If I, you know, like, Bumpy Jake, like, yeah, like, people might be, like, a bit weird, like, oh, where's the Bumpy come from? But, like, you know, it's very clear that my name is Jake, and, like, that's who I'm publicly saying I am. But, like, I feel like if I were to come onto the space and be trying to, like, get commissions with that name, it probably would have been a lot harder.
Because it's like, and I'm not speaking for you here, I'm speaking for myself, and I said this publicly, so I'm happy to say this. It's with the podcast, like, if I was in your shoes, and you say this was your podcast, right? And I was in your shoes. If this podcast wasn't, like, presented well, or didn't look professional, like, there's a reason I have some of the guests I have on, there's a reason you've come on the podcast, there's a reason I've been able to get Fulham, there's a reason I've been able to get Ant Venom. Like, Ant Venom said it on his podcast, because I asked him, was because my email was the podcast name, it had the profile picture, like an actual profile picture. The way I typed out the email was really professional, really inviting. And then when he looked at my channel, we had custom thumbnails. The podcasts were an hour long. We were sitting down, we were talking. There's a good sales all done. Like, if the podcast wasn't done professionally, I wouldn't expect you to come on it. And I feel like that kind of name, like Bumpy Longbottom, it's a funny name. Yeah. And sorry for laughing at it. It's laughing at it because it was your past.
No, it's completely valid. It is funny.
But it comes off as in quotation marks, not professional kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree. And I think, like, looking back on it, like, if it wouldn't have worked to keep it. Like, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But, like, because even if, like, I'd done the same amount of work and, like, had the same skills, like, I, like, you know, in, like, the first few events I did, like, when I was getting into the space, like, I wouldn't have been taken seriously by those people if I had that name. Like, it's just kind of unfortunate. It's just, I guess not unfortunate, but it's just the fact that, like, you know, how you present yourself to the public with your name or your profile picture or whatever else, like, it will very much affect, like, the work you can get.
Yeah. Because I'm going to mute this for the podcast because I don't like revealing what this is. But my old name was... And, like, it's an alright name, but I just don't think I don't think it's as good as Insane Orbitzz kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, I can relate to you in that kind of aspect of, like, I changed it once I actually started up content. That was my name when I was 8 or 9. That's what growing up is. Growing up is maturing your name, you know? You went to Bumpy Jake because it was more mature, more inviting, more professional kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.